most significant thing.
Can you share with us? You've walked us through it, I believe, a few times before, but can you share with us, for example, one story that you've oversaw from the beginning and toward the publication, and maybe the breakdown of the timeline? For example, I know there are different kinds of stories that have different times of timelines, but for example, one particular one that you've worked on, you just kind of walk us through how long in a day would you take to discuss or have this kind of reporter to editor conversations, and then investigate further until the publication.
All right. Well,
of course it varies. But.
Yeah, it does vary. But let's use the one that we're discussing right now. This particular story would be. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, one of the. This is approaches the level of investigation that we would do really, for a story for Inside Washington. And a full up and running reporter for our company can run 6 to 8 of these a week. What you all doing as a group of 6, that would be one of what there would be, and there would be 6. There would be 5 to 7 more. Okay. Now, before you decide to change careers, the way you do that is what we describe digging wells. The reason how we get to that point in our company is we have publications that are certain expertises. There's something called Energy Washington. Okay, so energy policy. Okay, now think of the story that we're doing, and we're investigating Department of Homeland Security policy. We're investigating immigration reform. We're investigating all this other thing. We're actually digging a well into what I call digging a well into the issue of immigration policy here, using the U visa story as the drilling bit right now. And you're finding out a lot of other stories. Now, do you think the next immigration story that you wrote might be a little easier because you've done this one? Okay, because you dig a well. So for a reporter, the well digging. I mean, if you've ever had a well dug in your house or been digging that well in the first place to get that first bucket of water takes a tremendous amount of time and a lot of work and expense and all. It's very, very costly with respect to resource and time. Okay, but once you hit the water, the next bucket of water is a lot easier. That's that first bucket of water. That's the trick, and it's very much like investigative reporting. So I mean, this would be a typical piece of work that we would do for a reporter. But the next immigration story that they wrote would be a little easier. And so down the road, if say they were an energy reporter and they were working on climate change or whatever, if we had done the climate change story, the first climate change story would have been head-busting for you, but the next climate change story would have been a little less head-busting. And 6 months into the job, you and I could have a very short conversation about the next thing that's happening on something you've already focused on. Okay. In this particular case, you'd have said, 3 months down the road, we've written this story. Catherine calls me up and says the Department of Homeland Security is willing to compromise and only ask for its 7,500 increase in quota for these reasons. That's a 5-minute conversation, okay? And bang, you could have written the story because you know all this stuff already. And you're just tacking the new piece of news on the beginning because we've already focused and understand the debate, we understand that it's human trafficking, not domestic violence, and whatever. And usually the piece of information would sort of hook into, you would follow the generally accepted rules of logic in terms of your information. So you know what? That's a.
So on average, you would say that turnaround time for an investigative piece for your reporters would be about a day or a few days for each.
The turnaround time for a good reporting piece is a day or 2 days. Could be 3 days. It used to be much longer than that, but you can get from 0 to 80, on the internet nowadays. And but sort of a day a day or 2 days, okay, and then maybe the next story is you can turn it around a day or less, and as we go. Now, once again, an investigative. Say we found that there was a gaming thing going on here. Okay, say we found some evidence that potentially a good portion of these 10,000 U visas that were issued were part of people gaming the system, and this is just a way for illegal immigrants to get U visas and eventually permanent residence status. Okay, that is a home run. You know, it's a potentially long ball. I'd be calling up whoever it is that you have to report to after this seminar and begging them to not let you do whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing with your life, so we can keep the team together and hit this and write this story. Okay, it'd be worth it. See what I mean? That's the only difference between investigative reporting and what I just described is time. And time is always measured on the weight of what you could pull out of it. We thought we could nail the gaming part of the story. Okay. I literally would be doing that. I mean, it's worth it. I would be talking to all kinds of people, trying to keep this team together to get that story done. Because that's journalism. Which is what an editor would do. He would start to be fighting with all kinds of people to keep that reporter doing that thing, because when he finishes it, bang, right out of the park. So that's all investigative reporting is. It's not a special skill. Reporting is reporting. Investigative has to do with the weight of what it is you're reporting. Investigative has to do with time, and time has to do with the weight of what it is that you're reporting. Okay? So I hope that you, even if you don't become an investigative reporter as your title somewhere, which I assume, I personally would never designate any reporter an investigative reporter on my staff, because that would basically tell all the other reporters that they don't have to be as good a reporter, and I would just never do that. I would assign somebody something if they had a tiger by the tail, and they become an investigative reporter for a while, absolutely. But then the 10 or 15 people on my staff would always be looking for the tiger. Right? So there you go. Thanks again, guys. This is a hoot. I enjoy it, and I even got coffee. Did you notice how the seminar improved dramatically once the coffee showed up? So there you go. Any other final questions? You have your assignments. Everybody shows up. Next time we'll just go. Like I said, we'll kind of put all our information together and see if we can write ourselves a story. We can joint author a story. Okay. Great.